And I want to go back into a little bit of ancient history, okay? Ancient history that's 5 days old as we start our Friday show. And on that ancient history, I want to talk about standing outside the Kansas City locker room Sunday night, waiting interminably for the locker room to be opened and watching all of these players on this team both celebrate and, just sort of try to get through the mayhem of this post game. And I'll tell you what struck me, and this is so, it's not 180-degree difference, but it's probably 135. And that is, the NFL should see what I'm seeing right now, and every owner should see what I'm seeing right now. Because I bet there were 20 players who walked up from celebrating on the field or who I saw in the locker room who were in really tough shape. Like Juju Smith-Schuster, just really not doing well, limping badly. And Mahomes obviously had his problems. But if you look at the receiver group of Kansas City at the end of that game, they were basically guys who 3 weeks ago, Andy Reid said, geez, I hope they're not in that game. But they had to go to the absolute bottom of the roster. And kudos to Brett Veach for finding guys who can actually play and contribute on the biggest drives of your season. It's not about that, but here's what it's about, Mike. I just continue to think that it's beyond insane, first of all, that the NFL has a 17-game regular season. And at some point, you've said it for 100 years, the NFL is going to push to go to 18 games. And all I can say is this. We are approaching a Super Bowl that is going to be tremendously fun. And here's what I hope. I had a former NFL team athletic trainer text me the other day and said, what kind of shape right now do you think Mahomes and Hurts are in going into the Super Bowl? I said, well, it's a blessing for them that they have 2 weeks, because I can tell you flat out, Mahomes wasn't healthy. And remember, a week ago, Mike, a little more than a week ago, I stood with Patrick Mahomes, with Jalen Hurts rather, after the Giants game, and I said, how are you? And he goes, good enough. And, he's at maybe 76% with his shoulder. And as I have said 100 times since then, the least surprising press release to me sometime after this season will be the press release that says Jalen Hurts to undergo clean-out procedure in right shoulder. So, and look, I'm not trying to throw a wet blanket on the game. I'm trying to say that these games are massively injurious to players. And don't you want the absolute peak games of your season to have the best players in them? I do. Bengals had 3 offensive linemen missing. The Eagles, relatively healthy. Lane Johnson isn't, and Jalen Hurts isn't. But you know what I'm saying, Mike. At some point, these owners should say to Roger Goodell, you and us, because we vote for it, we are killing the golden goose. We've killed it forever. We must stand up and not allow whatever faction of owners who will want the 18 games, no matter what the money is. We've got to draw a line in the sand right now. And in fact, I think they ought to push it back to 16, but I doubt they will.
Yeah, they'll never go back. The question is, when will they make their move to go forward? The union would be, presumably, the frontline defense against further expansion of the regular season. But like they did several years ago, the union sees the breakdown. They see how much more money comes from simply taking one meaningless preseason game and morphing it into a meaningful regular season game, another weekend of TV, et cetera, et cetera. And the NFLPA went along with it. I mean, that's the bottom line. The players who collectively negotiate with the union under the auspices of the NFL Players Association agreed to 17 games. And will they hold the line, or will they agree to 18 regular season games? That is the next question, and I don't know when they're going to make the push for that because, Peter, I thought as of a few years ago, the NFL recognized there's no way to reconcile player health and safety with this push for more because that's when it all started. It was right around the same time frame that the NFL had its concussion epiphany that the commissioner was saying the preseason stinks. The preseason stinks. Oh, I have a solution. Fewer preseason games, more regular season games. And then it became obvious it was all about not the preseason stinking, about the regular season being more golden eggs from the golden goose, and they wanted to get as many of them as they possibly could. And this gambling revenue that the NFL has realized will cause for more inventory, a push for more inventory. And, you know, the push for more inventory could manifest itself in more teams, frankly, at some point. That's one way to increase the number of games without increasing the number of weeks in a season. But it's still out there. It's still floating around, and hopefully they pay attention to the total attrition that teams experience through the course of a full season and a postseason, with now only one team per conference getting a bye, so all the other teams have to play that one extra game to get to the Super Bowl.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.